A lot of things get overlooked here. Let's start with a Windows setting that you may not be aware of. Click this magnifying glass on your start bar and type mouse, then hit enter. It's going to bring up your mouse settings. Go down to additional mouse options and select the Pointer Options tab. Make sure Enhanced Pointer Precision is off. This is Windows' built-in mouse acceleration, and it is on by default. The short version is, with this option on, the faster you move your mouse, the further your cursor moves, and it's bad for muscle memory. If you had this on, you're probably going to notice a difference instantly, even in the way your mouse moves across your screen. There's also an in-game mouse acceleration called aim smoothing, and we don't want that either. The next relevant setting is your ADS modifier. This affects how fast your crosshair moves in relation to your look sensitivity when you're aiming with right-click. 1.0 will have your aim sensitivity be the same as your hipfire sensitivity, and what works best for you is probably going to be dependent on whether you use hold zoom or toggle zoom. For me, anything other than 1 feels really unnatural with toggle, but a 0.5 with hold zoom feels super fluid. Feel free to explore and find what works best for you. With that out of the way, let's talk look sensitivity. First, find what you're comfortable with. How I do this is, I find a spot where the map geometry makes it really easy to tell how far you're turning. Doorways and stairways are great. Right here I've gone into the entrance of bunker E15. Line yourself up and flick your crosshair 180 degrees. If you're consistently overshooting or falling short, adjust your sensitivity until it feels natural. If you're new to the FPS genre, this might be a bit difficult at first, but the results will be worth it as you're developing a foundation. If you're not new to the FPS genre or you play other shooters, you'll want your sensitivity to be universalized across games so that your muscle memory doesn't have to readjust every time you play another game. How I set a standard of measurement for this is, I put a lighter on the left side of my mouse pad and set my mouse next to it. That's the distance my mouse needs to travel on my mouse pad to turn 180 degrees in-game. If you're a higher sensitivity player, this might represent a full rotation instead. Next, pivots. Wrist pivoting is when you have your wrist planted on your mouse pad, and elbow pivoting is when you're using your arm as an anchor. A lot of people will just say, yeah, don't wrist pivot, because it limits your range of movement. But if that's where your comfort zone is, go for it. With my setup, wrist pivoting allows for a full 180 degree rotation, and I lift my wrist if I need to turn any more than that, so something of a hybrid. I encourage you to experiment. Now, game mechanics. Destiny has aim assist and bullet magnetism. You can use Destiny Item Manager to check this hidden aim assistance stat. The best way to explain how this works is, there's two cones in front of you. One is aim assist and the other is accuracy. As you fire, the aim assist cone gets smaller and the accuracy cone gets bigger. Things inside the aim assist cone activate bullet magnetism, bending your shots towards your target like you're James McAvoy in Wanted. The range stat increases the reach of your aim assist cone, and stability decreases how fast the cone shrinks as you fire. Essentially, the game lets you get away with close enough often enough for it to feel rewarding without seeming unfair. Speaking of unfair, try not to take this game too seriously. With aim assist, Destiny giveth, but with ping, networking, no regional restrictions, ping, tick rate, and ping, Destiny taketh away. Manage your expectations. The game is going to rip you off sometimes, and if anyone on the other team has over 250 ping, it's going to be severely more noticeable when it happens. There are going to be times when you're minding your own business, about to round a corner, and you mysteriously drop dead, only to see the red outline of the person who killed you coming around the corner, to teabag you because the ping delay gave them enough wiggle room to round the corner and one-tap you before you even saw them. There's going to be times where someone is teleporting around the room like Nightcrawler, and there's going to be times where you feel like you died long after you cleared line of sight, because that's what happened, just not for them. There's going to be times where ping makes it feel like someone on the other team exists in your future but lives in your past. Try to find the humor both in how ridiculous some of the things that happen are, and in the dumb things that you're definitely going to do while you're figuring out the game, rather than getting progressively more frustrated and letting a bad run snowball into a bad night. Everything else comes with experience. General game sense things like constantly looking at your radar and ability management, situational awareness, map knowledge, and crosshair placement. But let's take a moment to touch on those last two. A good example of map knowledge is, last week's Trials map, Distant Shore, has this cave that's easily the most heavily contested area of the map. If it's not contested, you have bigger problems, like they're at spawn with snipers or rushing around about with shotguns. This guy's about to find out what happens when you go in the cave. And he's dead. Now we see what happens when you don't go in the cave. As for crosshair placement, when you're expecting someone to come around a corner, where you're aiming needs to take your reaction time into consideration. Aim too close to the wall and you'll need inhuman reaction time to hit that shot before it's too late. Too far out and they're probably going to kill you in the time it takes you to readjust. Finding that in between will help you win more of those engagements. Anyway, hope this helps you in some way. Good luck in there. Select the Pointer Options tab and... What? It's been on the whole time? Oh no.